Good morning, everybody. Today we are going to learn something about the human digestive system. I might be using in between English, Hindi, and a little bit of Nepali, wherever it is. If you haven't subscribed my channel, please do subscribe. I would love to help you all. Whatever questions you have, you can just write down in the comments, and I would like to answer them. The digestive system in human beings. So when we talk about digestive system in human being, we can divide the digestive system into two parts, alimentary canal and digestive glands. When we say alimentary canal, it starts with mouth and ends with anus. So mouth, inside mouth, there is a cavity called as buccal cavity, and inside the buccal cavity we can find 32 teeth. Along with them, there is a muscular tongue, and there are some glands like we know parotid gland, sublingual gland, submaxillary glands in the mouth, which will secrete salivary amylase, or we can say salivary juice. In the mouth, the food is partially digested, and then that partially digested food in mouth is called bolus. That moves into the stomach with the help of a tube called as esophagus. And this tube or food pipe or esophagus, so there are some wave-like movements while the food is moving in, and that is called as peristalsis movement. The wave-like movement of the food due to contraction and expansions of the muscles in the esophagus is known as peristalsis movement. Okay, and then the food enters into the stomach or sac-like structure, where the food is stored for about 3 to 4 hours. There the digestion process starts. We can see when the food enters from esophagus to the stomach, there is a small opening and closing structure, valve-like structure, which is called as esophageal sphincter. It is called esophageal sphincter. Okay, that will prevent the food to come back. Okay, during let's say vomiting, it gets open and the food comes out, or else it will be closed. It also protects the esophagus from highly concentrated acids like HCl, which is present in the stomach. So when we talk about stomach, the stomach is having different layers. The outermost layer of the stomach is called as serosa. Inner to that there is muscularis. Inner to muscularis there is submucosa layer, and the innermost layer, which is highly folded, is called as mucosa layer. And then in mucosa layer there are some foldings, and that foldings are called rugae. Rugae, R-U-G-A-E, rugae. Okay, and then that rugae helps in churning movement of the food. What does that churning movement of the food means? Churning movement of the food means it will break the food into further, and it will mix with the enzymes, acids, mucus, and all. Okay, and the enzyme which is present in the stomach is called as pepsinogen, and this pepsinogen is produced by some special cells called peptic cells. These cells will produce pepsinogen, which is inactive, but it becomes active when it is mixed with HCl, and it becomes pepsin. And pepsin helps in digestion of proteins. So partially the proteins are broken down into peptones and peptides in the stomach. That is, partial digestion happens in the stomach. Now the partially digested food in the stomach is called as chyme, C-H-Y-M-E, chyme. So this chyme now slowly moves into the small intestine. The first portion of the small intestine is called as duodenum. It is U-shaped tube or C-shaped tube, which is connected with a sphincter called as pyloric sphincter, because the different parts of the stomach can be divided into different regions. The upper bulging portion is called as fundus, the middle one is called as main body or cardiac region, and the last portion is called as pyloric region. So the sphincter which are present near to the pyloric region is known as pyloric sphincter. And then next, the food that enters into the duodenum gets digested much faster, because to the duodenum there are two glands attached, that's liver and pancreas. Actually it is a hepatopancreatic duct is attached to the duodenum, and from there the food is digested. Liver does not produce any enzyme, it produces only bile salts. It contains a special bladder, which is called as gallbladder, which stores the concentrated bile juice, and liver also produces obviously bile juice. Altogether, the juice enters into the pancreatic duct, where pancreatic duct actually produce all kind of enzymes. You know, the enzyme that digest carbohydrates, that is pancreatic amylase. Similarly, the enzyme that digest fat, that is lipase, and the enzyme that digest protein, that is trypsin. All these enzymes, carboxypeptidase, chymotrypsin, there are so many more enzymes that are produced into the duodenum with the help of pancreas. But most of the enzyme needs bile salts to get activated. For example, lipase is only getting activated with the help of bile salts, and then only it can help further emulsification of fats. So this is what is digestion happens in the duodenum, that is first part of small intestine. In the small intestine, after the digestion, what happens is the food enters into the other parts of the small intestine, that is called jejunum and ileum. So jejunum, it is highly coiled structure, and then ileum less coiled structure, and here also the final digestion process happens. That is, all the disaccharides and oligosaccharides will become monosaccharides. Similarly, dipeptides and polypeptides becomes amino acids, and similarly nucleotides and all other substances also further breaks into monomers. So that's what final digestion happens in the other parts of the small intestine. Next to that small intestine, there is large intestine. But before connecting to large intestine, there might be a small space called as cecum, or next to cecum there might be a small finger-like projection called as appendix. So these are the region where actually some microbes helps in digestion of the food in some ruminant animals. Even in human being, the cecum and appendix is smaller when compared to other animals. Then the food that is digested now has to be absorbed by the body, and for absorption the large intestine helps in it. Most of the nutrients, electrolytes and other substances are absorbed by the large intestine. So in the intestine, actually there are many foldings which are called as villi and further microvilli. Due to these foldings, the surface of the intestine is so high. For example, even if you unfold all the villi and microvilli of small intestine, which is 6 meters in length, you will find the area of an football ground, or let's say 80 meters square. That's awesome, right? So that much space is available for us to absorb the nutrients. And then the food enters into the large intestine, where it is absorbed, and then the large intestine can be divided into three regions: the ascending colon, transverse colon, and descending colon. And from descending colon it enters into the rectum, where the undigested food is stored. From next to rectum there is an opening called as anus, from where the undigested food is thrown out. So this is all about our alimentary canal, whereas I also discussed in between about digestive glands. Further in next class I would like to explain you about the enzymes and the reactions that happens in different parts of our digestive system. For today this much. Thank you so much. Have a great day. Best of luck. Do your exam well. Best wishes to everyone. Bye bye. Take care.